Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today, I don't know if you can tell by the colour of the shirt, we're going back to the colourful eyeshadow looks. So today we're going blue because I want to use my Beauty Bay Midnight palette, which I actually haven't used yet. The protector's just fallen on the floor. But it's got all these stunning shades. It's got all the rows of purples and then obviously the rows of blue. So I'm gonna use the blues and then I'll use the purples at a different time to create a different look because I really want to use this palette. I've not filmed anything purely because it's been so hot. I've not even thought about putting makeup on my face. Yeah, no, I've just been a bunch of sweat melting into a small puddle. And then I sat down today to film and the sun's come out. It's going well, it's going well. But no, so we're gonna film today. Obviously I've got a blue glasses, I've got my Knots Open t-shirt from competition earlier in the year. Unfortunately I don't think I'm going to be competing anymore. I may be announcing my retirement from sport in the next month or so, depending on what orthopedics, my MRI results and my physio will have to say to me in the next few weeks. But so stay tuned, I may be announcing my retirement. My sporting career I think is over, unfortunately. Don't jump off things onto concrete. That's my lesson, my piece of advice I'm going to give everyone. Don't jump off things onto concrete, it won't end very well. So yeah, so stay tuned to see if I actually have to retire from sport. But yeah, so we're going to get straight into it. Obviously I'm going to start with my eyes because I feel like there's going to be fallout and I feel like it's going to be easier. Don't mind the fact that I've cut my forehead. Couldn't tell you how I've done that. I genuinely could not tell you how I did that. I woke up one morning and it was just kind of just there. I was like, okay, I don't know if I burnt my head, like burnt my hair, I was curling my hair, or if I scratched myself in the sleep. Don't look at me. So yeah, we're also going to be trying to cover that up as well. So let's get straight into it. Honestly, if you could see the angle that my camera is at, if it falls over, it is probably going to fall over. I should have done a smash. It shouldn't do. Right, so first thing I'm going to do is I've already done like skin prep, SPF, that sort of thing. Of course, we're starting with my eyes, but the first thing I'm going to do is my brows because, yeah. So I'm just going to go with my number 17 Brow Freeze. Now this is basically like glue. And then I'm just going to take a Sabuli and then just take like a little bit. You really like don't need a lot. And then I'm just going to kind of run this through my brows and this is just going to stick them down. Honestly, if it feels wrong starting with my brows and doing my eyes first, but there you go. So that is my brows, literally. There's my eyeshadow palette on the floor. So that is my brows absolutely laminated down. Don't know what it looks like. I've got a black eye, I promise I don't. So of course we're going on eyes. I did have tape, medical tape, of course. I actually don't know where I've put it. Oh, never mind, I found it. So I'm gonna attempt to do a wing. Once again, this is very much trial and error. It's also going to be a trust the process, and if it looks shit at the end, don't judge me, sort of thing. Right, taped sort of like where I want the outline to be. Are they even? Probably not. What am I saying? Of course they're not even. Never mind. So eyeshadow primer, of course I've just got my Revolution eyeshadow priming base. So I'm literally just going to put this all over the lids of my eyes and sort of blend out with the brush, and then I'm going to kind of use it to kind of carve out my eyebrow as well. Just so it is like more defined. There you go. So that is my eyebrows. Well, my eyebrows are like carved. I've just primed my eyelids. Now I actually don't know what shades I'm gonna use or what even kind of look I'm aiming for. But yeah, so we'll do a few swatches. I think I might go with the shade Mist first. It's just this sort of like sky blue sort of colour. My theory is I'm debating which sort of like eyeshadow like shimmer to kind of use. So this is Potion, which is kind of like this one down here. Ooh. Shiny and pigmented, I think, is going to be the theme for today. Or we've got Sky, which is more this kind of lighter blue shimmer, which is that one there. Ooh. Or I am debating whether to use Steel, which is like this silver here. There's like my topper. I don't know. I guess I'm gonna decide when I eventually get there. So I'm gonna go in with the shade Mist, which is just this light blue, and I'm just gonna kind of put this in the crease of my eyelids and then just sort of blend this out. And I'm also gonna attempt to wing this out. I say attempt because we all know what is gonna happen here. Okay, so that is sort of like the light blue shade. Now, to be fair, I probably could just leave it like that and then just add a bit of like a sparkle, but we're not going to do that because if it's going to fail, I'm going to fail miserably. So I'm then going to go in with the shade. Okay, I've had an idea. I think I know what I'm going to do, or what I'm going to attempt to do anyway. So on a more sort of like fluffier brush, but like a little harder fluffy brush, I'm just going to go in with the shade Cerulean, which is this sort of like blue in this corner, and I'm just going to take a tiny little bit of this and of course just kind of put it in my outer corner and then sort of like blend it in to the other shade, and of course blend that outwards just to sort of deepen it up a little bit. As you can tell, I don't really know what I'm doing. We are winging this and making this up as we go. But one thing I will say about these shadows is these are like pigmented, so you really don't need a lot. So I am just trying to be mindful of like blending them all together. Now, as always, I am going to attempt to do a wing, but I think I'm actually going to try and attempt to do a blue wing with the deepest blue shade that we've got. There you go. So that is the deep blue. Now, I am a little bit scared, I'll be honest, because I feel like I'm about to ruin everything, but never mind. So I'm going to go in with the shade Bubbles as my sort of eyeshadow topper, which is this sort of shade right here, the shimmer. Now I'm going to take this on a brush just so I can control where it goes, but this is kind of like a deep sort of blue, and then I'm literally just gonna pat this on, and I'm gonna kind of focus it more on like the inner half of my eyelid, if you know what I mean. There you go. So that is near enough my eyes done. Now I am then going to go in with the shade Denim, which is this deep sort of like royal blue, and I'm going to attempt to do a little wing. I'm going to basically follow the line of the tape, and I feel like this is where, if it's going to go wrong, it's going to be now, because I've decided to do a wing instead of just leaving it as it is. So this will probably come back and bite me in the ass later. So I'm just going to take a tiny bit of that shade. I'm literally going in with like an angled brush, so hopefully it's going to give me like a good wing. Don't know which way around to use it though. Go that way. Yeah, right. Right, you know what? No, we're going for it, I don't know how big to kind of make the wing. Oh, do you know what? I think that's okay. And then I'm just gonna kind of work it into sort of like my upper lash line, but I'm not gonna take it all the way. I'm kind of just gonna leave it sort of like halfway. That one wasn't so bad. You know what? Who wants even eyeliner anyway? Like, absolutely no one. So it's fine. I'm literally now just trying to like blend it in. I'm not even going to bother making it symmetrical. I will be here for like a year because my face is obviously not symmetrical, and no matter how much I try, nothing ever goes symmetrical. For now, I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to come back obviously and do bits sort of like under like my eyelid and obviously mascara and stuff, but I'm going to do that later. I'm going to peel this off and do my face now, which I'm scared. Oh god, I got my eyelashes. Oh, okay, do you know what? I actually quite like that. This may actually be the first look that's not a complete failure. Oh, do you know what? This may be an eye look I'm like proud of, because that is actually not that bad so far. I'm gonna, fingers crossed, I'm not gonna jinx it because my base makeup be absolutely awful and all peels and everything, but at least I've got good eyes, you know. So for my base, obviously I'm gonna start with primer, so I'm just gonna go in with my Primark vitamin enriched primer. This is basically the dupe for the Bobbi Brown vitamin enriched face base. Now this is like I've used this like a few times, but I've not used this in absolute ages, so I thought, you know what, let's whip it out now. I feel like I need to wash my hands because I'm literally just gonna put this on my face. Oh no. Now, do you know what, I've seen my eye look in like a different light in a different mirror, and I actually think this is gonna be an eye look that I'm proud of. I actually really like it, so I'm hoping that my face also goes well. There you go. So now that I've rubbed in my primer, while that's sort of absorbing, I'm going to spot conceal a little bit. My skin is kind of breaking out, it's kind of not, it's like the early stages where you know it's about to start breaking out. So of course I'm just going to go in with my Playstick 101, just the little concealer side, and just do a little bit of spot concealing. Obviously try and cover up my little scar that I seem to have going on, and there's just always like a few on my chin and like down here, but other than that my skin is actually not that bad. There you go. So now that that is done, of course I'm going to go in with some foundation. So I'm just going to go in with my Collection Hydrate Serum Foundation with hyaluronic acid, and this is in the shade 4 Extra Fair. Now I think about half a pump is probably all you need of this, because this is quite like a full coverage foundation. And then I'm just going to take a damp beauty blender and then just kind of blend this out, and I'm just going to be mindful of obviously under my eyes. There you go. So now that my foundation's all blended out, I'm going to go straight into some cream bronzer just before I conceal, just so my concealer doesn't like crease or anything. So of course just going to use my other side of my Playstick. This pretty much is nearly gone, so I'm just going to kind of bronze sort of like my cheekbones, my jaw, and then use my nose as well. And then again just kind of going with the brush, and then I'm just kind of blend this out. There you go. So that is my cream bronzer done. Of course I'm just going in a little bit of a cream blush. I'm just going to use my Primark cream lip and cheeks. Again, this is kind of like a really like rosy sort of pink. So just put a tiny little bit on, and then I'm going to go back in with my damp beauty blender, just kind of blend this back out. There you go. So now that that is all blended out, I'm going to go with a little bit of concealer now. I'm just going to take my Collection Lasting Perfection Serum Concealer, this in the shade Porcelain 2. And all I'm going to do is just put a tiny little bit on my chin, the centre of my nose, a little bit on the centre of my forehead, and just kind of like under my eyes. Just to kind of draw all the brightness to the centre of my face. And then again I'm just going to take my beauty blender and then just blend this out. There you go. And just before that all creases, I'm going to go straight in with loose powder. So I'm just going with my Collection Lasting Perfection Matte Sheer Loose Powder, again in the shade Translucent 2, and take it on a powder puff, and then just kind of put it everywhere that I've just put concealer, so under my eyes, my chin, my forehead, and just kind of set that in place. There you go. So I've just set my face. Now normally I'd go in with like powder bronzer, powder blush, but I don't think I'm going to, because I kind of want my eyes to kind of be like the star of the show, and it's subtle and it is there in like the background of my face, so we're going to skip all of those steps. So now the only thing I actually have to do is go back and finish off my eyes. So just like my lower lash line, I'm going to go back in with the first shade again, which is I'm going to go in with the shade Mist, which is the light blue shade. Just kind of put that on my lower lash line. And then for my inner corner, I'm literally just going to use a bit of powder highlighter. So I'm just going to go with my Ellen Tracy. It's like kind of like a blush and highlighter duo. And then I'm just going to take a tiny little bit of that highlighter, just put it on my inner corner, and then I'm going to highlight like the tip of my brow bone as well. There you go. So now, so now that that is done, of course we're going to go with mascara. So I'm just going to go with my Sun-Kissed Mega Bold Lash Mascara. because this is really going to amplify my eyelashes. Hopefully this don't go everywhere and ruin the eye look. There you go. So that is mascara done. Surprisingly, it's not actually gone everywhere. Miracles do happen. So all we've got now is lips left to do. So I'm literally going to keep this extremely simple. So I'm just going to go in with my W7 lip liner. No idea what the shade is. It's literally like all come off. And I'm just going to line my lips. And there you go. So now I have lined my lips. I'm just going to go in with my W7 Very Vegan lip gloss. Now I feel like this is kind of like a hybrid between like a lip cream and a lip gloss. So I'm just going to put this on. There you go. So now that is lips done, so all we need to do is set my face. So I'm just going to go with my Primark Prep and Perfect Up All Night setting spray, and then I'm just going to give that a minute to dry, and then I'll come back with the final look. There you go. So oh, my hair's gone like really red in the sun. But yeah, so this is the final look. Do you know what, I think it's generally maybe one of my favourite like colourful eye looks that I've done. I feel like it was the most successful because nothing seems to go wrong. Everything went flawlessly. I don't know how I managed to do that. But yeah, so I'll 100% be recreating this look in future and stuff, because it's not in your face blue, you know? So it's quite nice. Obviously it doesn't quite match my navy blue top, but it's close. So yeah, and I think I found the hack for the liner as well. So yeah, thanks for watching and stay tuned for another video.